get your chicken bent on the other one when you work. That's not all going to there. This side's going to anchor right here. Aren't there. What's out there is a field is a pond.
Best thing is if they don't have to burn right at this time of the year, not to do it. It's
right.
Granted, it's a dry time of the year to get some piles going, but it also gets everything else going.
We spent much of our day in Zagreb, Croatia today trying to determine and try to figure out exactly what it is and the cultural differences between the Croatians and Serbs that have led to the recent hostilities. What we found is that in Belgrade, Yugoslavia, the Serbian people seem to be much more friendly and open to talk to American strangers on the streets, while in Zagreb, Croatia, they seem to be a little more hesitant. In fact, we found it very difficult to even make eye contact with with the Croatian people. We talked with many academics and professors who consider themselves intelligentsia, and they say it's because the Croatians have been worn down by the recent fighting and the continued problems in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Also today, we had an opportunity to talk with several police officers and military men, and their impressions on America and what Americans should be doing to stop the ongoing fighting in the Bosnia-Herzegovina region. They say that Americans need to become more involved. In fact, they are saying that America should begin airstrikes immediately to force Serbia to put additional pressure on the Bosnian Herzegovinian Serbs. It was a full day today again trying to determine just exactly what, if any, solution there could be to the continued war and fighting in this Balkan region. Tomorrow we begin our way back to the United States. From Zagreb, Croatia, this is Duke Skorich for KBJR News.
Can you tell me what kind
There's an increasing number. We're concerned because every year there's an increasing number of crimes involving firearms and handguns.
Cut off and the stock, and there's also no safety or.
It's kind of like people in the spring get a rummage sale, you get all that stuff in the basement and in the attic and in the garage. Somebody does anything.
So since they have to be down at the police department by 9:30, I'd like to give everybody.
It's really good to have you here. When we first heard about this project, I wasn't so sure that there was going to be a lot of interest. But obviously there is. Last I heard there were over 60 kids that had come to work.
The new evidence came to light following an episode of NBC's Unsolved Mysteries in a segment called Final Appeal. It included a reenactment of the night Debbie Race died of hypothermia. In staging the reenactment, producers relied heavily on an interview with Larry Race, who claimed his wife's death was an accident, a claim backed up by Debbie's own parents.
It's hard to take, you know, when so many people think he was guilty, but it's never been a problem with us. We just don't believe he was guilty.
If you only knew Larry, you wouldn't think that Larry would ever do anything like that.
Shortly after this broadcast of Unsolved Mysteries, and nearly 10 years after Debbie Race's death, these women came forward claiming to have found a life raft like the one Larry Race says his wife used to escape their sinking boat. The Minnesota Supreme Court is now deciding whether their claim is credible.
The key issue in this case, and I think the state concedes this, the key issue in this case is whether Larry Race had one raft or two on the night of his wife's death. Plainly and simply, if there were two rafts, Larry Race is innocent. If there was only one raft, Larry Race is guilty.
St. Louis County Prosecutor John DeSanto successfully argued that Larry Race staged a boating accident and sent his wife to her death in the icy waters of Lake Superior. Ironically, Debbie Race died on the night of the couple's 14th wedding anniversary. DeSanto maintained there was only one raft on the Jenny Lee, a raft produced at trial with holes made by Larry Race's knife as he cut it from underneath his wife. The jury was convinced and brought back a first-degree murder conviction. Earlier this month, DeSanto asked the High Court to uphold that conviction.
This appeal is based upon testimony which the post-conviction court, His Honor Judge Barnes, described, and I quote, as extremely doubtful and doubtful in character. I quote again, not credible. I quote yet again, not so material as probably to produce a different result than that which actually occurred at the trial.
I traveled to Stillwater State Prison for an exclusive interview with Larry Race. Race told me his biggest mistake was failing to take the witness stand during his murder trial. Tonight, he's hoping the High Court will allow him to finally tell a jury about the night his wife died.
Absolutely. I would try to take the stand every chance I'd have a chance to. If the judge would say, Larry, you can get on after every witness, before every witness, I would want that. I would want the people to see.
The evidence used against you in your trial was circumstantial. The prosecution painted you as a cold-blooded man who plotted his wife's murder skillfully. How would you respond to that description of Larry Race?
If I would have had a chance to take the stand, this is what would have been important. They would have seen who Larry Race was. Yes, they would have found out that he was running around, was not faithful, but he still loved his wife.
Operating privileges are revoked for 3 years, which I understand recognizes the abuse of alcohol and treatment. In this case, because of this young man's history and his refusal to stop driving under the influence. The punishment here must be severe enough to be a deterrent not only to Mr. Olson, but to others who would endanger others by driving.
It's kind of a symbolization for the women who have been battered. And again, it also helps the Women's Coalition and the women that are in the shelter now.
A new study on garbage rates in Duluth recommends rates go up, continuing the city's volume-based system of collection fees.
And so basically what we're trying to do is allocate the fees based on how the costs are are generated within the current industry.
The recommended rate structure proposes a lower rate for the lightest users. The rate for one 20-gallon can a month drops to $9. The remaining categories increase according to projected expenses for haulers. Area haulers say it's too early to comment on the study, but say they're willing to consider any plan that allows their business to survive. The study, released at a sanitary district meeting Monday night, includes a higher profit margin for haulers and continues the volume-based system currently in use. But the proposed rate changes are designed to encourage recycling.
The rates are going to go up on the average. However, a number of people within the rate structure will have a way of being able to at least maintain or in some cases reduce their rates.
The incentive to recycle more is a lower rate. Customers would pay less if they produce less waste, the likely future of garbage collection rates everywhere. The study is only in its preliminary stages and months of planning meetings are still ahead. But the bottom line is clear: reduce waste or pay more. In Duluth, Derek Hines, News 6.
Third one is back in the woods a little bit. And then the fourth spot we have to go to is where most of us will be doing the monitoring.
It's the kind of field trip everyone looks forward to.
Miss Herms, am I scraping substrates at the next spot?
These students from Duluth's Marshall School are taking part in an important project for the future of the St. Louis River.
Well, what they're working on right now is they're looking at what's called an artificial substrate. Basically, we provided habitat for the organisms that live on the bottom of the river. They're kind of traveling organisms. As they came by, that looked like a good place to live.
Help! Help!
Groups of biology and zoology students have been studying water habitats for months, preparing for in-depth research.
It's like every Friday we dedicate to
Studying the river.
And talking about what our agenda is, kind of like working up to this day. And when we get back to school, we're going to have all our information, then we're going to sort through it.
The organisms collected today will be preserved, taken back to the classroom, and analyzed. But today's experiments are only the beginning of a much larger picture.
As far as scientific data collection goes, doing something for a couple of years doesn't give you a real good set of information to work off of. If we could do it for 10, 20, 30 years in a row, we'd have really valuable information.
There are 17 different groups on the river today, forming the foundation of a comprehensive biological survey, one that organizers hope will have an impact for decades. On the St. Louis River, Derek Hines, News 6.
He knows quality.
I've only been doing this since May of 1977.
One of the big things that we support is the Lighthouse for the Blind. We sight and hearing impaired. We provide eye exams and eyeglasses for people, for the needy, hearing aids for the needy. So Lions Eye Bank, Children's Eye Clinic, those are a few of the things that we support.
That's a dangerous way. There you go.
To let people know that our
The parachuting is good for, it's fun to do, and then also to learn something about the wind and how the wind acts, and to learn a little bit about the different lifestyle, I guess, parachuting.
There are no losers at the Special Olympics. Everyone's congratulated for a job well done.
Yeah! Good job!
Athletes and their families traveled from across northwestern Wisconsin to participate in Superior's Special Olympics, which has been a success since it began nearly 20 years ago.
Well, I think you can see today that they give an opportunity for a lot of the citizens of Wisconsin who may not have an opportunity to participate in a regular sports program, a chance to really shine, enjoy themselves, and enjoy the competitive spirit among their peers.
Hey, you gotta take a picture out there. I'll be out there racing.
Were you participating in some of the events today?
Yes, I was.
All right. What did you participate in?
Softball throw.
All right. How'd you do?
Good.
How do you like the Special Olympics?
Fine.
But after its years of success, Superior may not be hosting the Regional Special Olympics next year.
There's some restructuring that's going to take place in the state of Wisconsin. And at this time, I guess we aren't quite sure of what's going to take place exactly.
The Olympics may have to move to another part of the state to accommodate more athletes.
What we want to look at doing is having those athletes have an opportunity at an event that encompasses more Special Olympians, perhaps 3 or 4 times as many, to give them other competitive opportunities.
But no matter where the Special Olympics are held, its motto will continue on.
To let me win, but if I cannot win, to let me be brave in the attempt.
The only reason Al's hitting it that far is we're a step closer.
I'm manager. I get to like go into that.
Run it out, Al. 2 outs.
The battle lines are drawn over a paintball court in Duluth, with a final vote tonight. A live report is next.
It's been a tough month for 68-year-old Anton Lambert of Duluth. 4 weeks ago, he suffered a small stroke.
Well, I just woke up and I was dizzy and I couldn't walk right, and I can't talk right.
That sent his doctor a warning that he probably had a blockage somewhere in his carotid artery. X-rays confirmed Mr. Lambert had a 90% blockage and he needed immediate attention. Research shows that surgery is 3 times more effective than medication in such cases. So today, Duluth Clinic neurologist Dr. William Hamango operated to remove the buildup of plaque.
What we want to do is expose the vessel, clamp it off, open it up, and clean it out.
This type of surgery is quite routine, but what Dr. Hamango does that most other surgeons don't is to have another neurologist monitor the patient's brain activity throughout the operation.
Did you get a better flow now that the pressure is up higher? Or you're still down low?
No, we're still in the 26,
Really?
28 range, yeah.
During the procedure, the affected carotid artery must be clamped off, interrupting the blood flow to that side of the brain. Often, the blood flow will redirect itself to the other carotid artery. But if that doesn't happen, it can result in the patient suffering a stroke during surgery. Most neurologists will automatically put in a shunt to redirect the blood flow. But that procedure greatly increases a patient's risk and expense. Dr. Hamango makes all the preparations to put in a shunt, but will only do that surgery if the neurologist monitoring brain activity indicates it's necessary.
We're trying to make sure that there's enough blood going to the brain. This is a monitor for blood flow in the arteries of the brain.
Then came the moment of truth.
Okay, we're getting ready to occlude here. It's occluded. Okay.
Flow is down by about 50%.
Okay. Just tell me if when we're safe again. Sucker?
Going back up.
It is.
Mr. Lambert didn't need the shunt. Opening the artery showed a huge mass of plaque, which Dr. Hamango was able to remove. This type of innovative, sophisticated monitoring can significantly increase the chances of a positive outcome from this surgery. At St. Mary's Medical Center in Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6. They came with their buckets and their enthusiasm. The DNR invited elementary school students from around the region to help them with their annual fish stocking program. 6 to 10-inch yearling brook and brown trout are being stocked in several healthy creeks and rivers in the area. An organization called Together Reach Out and Upgrade Trout has been working on cleaning up rivers and streams in this area for several years and was with the DNR today to help supervise the children.
After we've got all the streams in good shape, we talked to the DNR and asked them if they would plant fish.
10-year-old Evan Moyle has been fishing since he was just a tyke. He and his grandpa have spent many a day drowning worms.
When me and my grandpa go fishing, or when my grandpa and I go fishing, we go to a variety of places, and he teaches me how to cast, and he shows me all the different lures and things.
But not all the kids have the benefit of a grandpa's wisdom. Programs like this help the children learn more about fishing and about the responsibility they have to keep those fish in a healthy environment.
They need to know more than just putting the fish into the water and that's it. They need to know that we need to take care of that water and what that fish actually needs to survive.
Teachers appreciated the field trip for their students as well, saying without the DNR support, the schools couldn't afford this type of on-scene learning experience.
The DNR plans to stock almost 2,500 yearling brookies and brownies over the next 2 days. They say an appreciation for conservation gained by these kids at this early age should last them a lifetime. At Amity Creek in Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
Far right, as of April 30th, we haven't had any expenditure.
I think it will.
We're not shifting expenditures. 293 budget reductions,
It's a more difficult thing to do. You're taking a building that is an administration, turning it back into a school, taking a building that is a school and turning it into administration. So it becomes a more expensive type of change.
Yeah, it's been fun though. You know, we're in Duluth and 2 weeks.
Against him, what do you hope to?
I'm just trying to run my own thing. I don't think he's going to run. He's got problems, and that's one reason I started thinking about running, is we need a good, solid, good Republican candidate to run in.
School's out, and for the next 3 months, these kids will take full advantage of this daycare facility. The parents of these children discovered a center that does more with the kids than just play, but it's not always easy to find. At Jefferson Children's Center in Duluth, learning is the key to its success.
We're offering actual learning for the kids. We have licensed teachers. They're licensed by the state of Minnesota. All of our teachers have elementary degrees or early childhood degrees. And I think it's really, we're focusing on the same things that they do in the school year, but just in a smaller scale.
Daily activities include reading, science, writing, and math. And the kids would rather be here than anywhere else.
School is fun, and that most of the stuff we do here is really good. Well, I'd probably want to be here.
Why?
Because you would get a lot more exercise here.
And the teachers think it's vital to keep the children learning.
That's important, to keep up on their skills that they're learning during the school year. Instead of having a lag during the summer where they're watching TV or just playing outside, I think that's very important.
In looking for a quality daycare, these are some things you should remember. Look for a good location, a place close to home or work. How much does the program cost? And ask about assistance through St. Louis County Social Services. Find out how qualified the staff is. Look at the atmosphere. Are the children especially happy or sad? And meet your child's teacher. If you take these tips into consideration, your child will be in good hands, learning and having fun. In Duluth, Amy Cook, News 6.
No, not really. They're learning to have fun, they're learning to have exercise, and they're learning to meet new friends. That's really the slogan and the purpose of square dancing.
This is breaking.
Frightening because Sandy Slinker Janice could have been among these women killed by domestic violence last year in Minnesota if she hadn't gotten out of a 10-year-long abusive relationship.
Yeah, and I'm going to get involved with that more so my grandchildren can lead a better life and understand more what happened to their mother. That's why I'm involved in all this.
The area was the biggest selling point, of course. Many of these people have to make the convention pay for itself, so they have to know that when they come here, there will be story material at their fingertips.
The Bayfront Park is going to be better than it is now. There will be more usable space, even with this particular design that you see sitting behind us already, which is not a final design. It has more usable space than what we have down there, and we again feel it will be more accessible.
be your qualified rebuilding.
They call me I'm referred in one context in my life.
Detroit Lakes. And we're trying to pull out of St. Paul and get closer to our customers for the very purpose of helping them get through a system that's admittedly too complex.
Well, we have no information that allows us, and I guess this firm criteria, you identify the parasites and the fact that ehrlichiosis had been found in dogs in Michigan may have been undiagnosed, and I guess this to draw conclusions for a region outside of our area. However, I guess I would emphasize that there are no public.
I guess I need people carrying the sandbags over to.
I'll take a couple, okay?
If something real major happens, I think our house is possibly in danger, but I'm hoping we don't get any more rain and nothing major happens.
I'm the lady with her picture taken. Here, I got one. Okay, straight there.
Happening to the Northwest Woods. Can you tell me a little bit?
Addressed to the people that can do something. We want to get our membership motivated. We want to get them out there to work. We want to educate our communities and our workers and our legislators and our leaders.
Hey, doggy, you're all wet. Don't even think of jumping on.
Well, Duke and Michelle, all of us have seen the flood damage and destruction from here in Des Moines on television, but you know, you really can't appreciate what this is like, what it smells like, what it looks like until you actually come here and stand and look at the homes and the damage. The home you're looking at now has had the basement literally just blown right out. A number of homes have this same situation, and you can see the water just standing down here and the possessions of the homeowner floating in water, in smelly black water in the bottom of this house. And it is obviously lives, homes disrupted and ruined, and it makes all the more special the effort by these young Duluthians who are working now with volunteers from all over the Midwest to assist these residents in recovering what they can from the flood, or the ravages of the flood. It's young people from the Duluth Youth Services Corps. We've got 30 of them with their supervisors. They're young people who are paid minimum wage to do park cleanup and things like that. And of course, this is much bigger than anything they had ever signed on to do. And they're taking this job with vigor, though. It's exciting for them. It's something that they feel like they're really contributing to this. They're working in a long area behind me, a street, a row of homes that have been really hit hard by the floodwaters of the Des Moines River, which is just down the street from us. They will be working here for the next 8 hours, or for an 8-hour period, and then be taking off by bus back to Duluth, and they're expected to be back there about 4 tomorrow morning. And tough, dirty work, and meals provided for them on the bus, but likely to be rewarding work. Now, one of the organizers of this whole effort is Chris Coleman, who's here with me now. And Chris, I'm wondering what kind of things are needed here in this zone now?
Well, primarily our first concern is better weather. As you've been here all morning, you've seen that the rain doesn't stop, and it's really caused our recovery efforts to be slowed down. Beyond better weather, to get moving further is we need as much labor support, people to help, like the people from Duluth coming today to assist us in removing everything. As you saw in the house a minute ago, virtually every piece of property that anyone had in this neighborhood and many others in our city has to be destroyed, has to be taken out of the home. There's nothing to be saved. And so we need to get that out of there. We need to begin working with FEMA and the insurance companies that are representing these individuals in these destructed areas to make sure that they're financially rewarded in the ways that they should be, and to know exactly what they can do in the homes. Many of the homes that are salvageable still need to rip all of their walls out. They need to destruct everything on the basement and first floor levels and start completely over. And we need to have some help to get that done.
How long will you need actual labor, people coming down here volunteering like us? Any estimate?
We're planning to do site neighborhood cleanup projects like what the Duluthians are going to participate in today through next Friday. And we think that if we had thousands of people a day, we still wouldn't have everything done. But United Way here in Des Moines is trying to coordinate an effort with folks like you all to help us over the next 7 to 10 days.
All right, Chris Coleman, thank you. Duke and Michelle, there is some good news here in Des Moines today. Although it is continuing to rain, it's let up for the moment. The business district has reopened downtown, and the water is back on in at least several of the zones they've divided the city into. You should see the surprise and the pleasure in people's faces and in their eyes when they find out the water is back on. It's something you really take for granted. The problem, the dark cloud, is the rain. We're looking at 5 inches of rain over the next 5 days. Some forecasters are estimating as much as 12 inches. They say 12 inches, and we're going to be back into the same type of disaster flooding that we've been experiencing the last few weeks. So everybody's got their eyes in the sky. Duke and Michelle, reporting live from Des Moines, I'm Dave Jench. Back to you.
The other classes is there's an introductory class that talks about what the Red Cross does. That's great. They're going down there. I mean, that's wonderful.
Yeah, they're going to be back, or they already are back.
We need people that can do damage assessment for us, family service, who can aid in the sheltering of families. Right now, we've got 100 shelters open in the Midwest, and about 32,000 families have been affected by this flood. And there are people that are still in those shelters.
On loan to me from them for a period of time just to show my customers. In the state right now, it's worth several $100,000. It would be some smaller 1-carat diamonds with it, for example. That's a 1-carat. You know, most people think a 1-carat diamond is a pretty substantial stone. So I'll put a series of 1-carat stones out here with it. You can kind of get a
Jelena? Dobro jutro, Jelena!
This was the meeting in Belgrade when I first met Jelena and her father Bogdan. 9 years earlier, my father had met them. Much has changed in what was then a unified Yugoslavia. And this was this weekend in Grand Rapids. Jelena was able to get an American visa in time to attend a family reunion. Her American family that began when her great-grandmother's brother immigrated in 1906.
After so many years of family separation, and now that we have been able to get acquainted with each other over the past few years, it's been, and today particularly, has been a very beautiful experience for me.
This family expanded when the three Schusteritz sisters immigrated to America in 1910. And for the past several years, these gatherings have introduced the great and even greater grandchildren to the traditions of Serbian culture. For Jelena, it's a chance to experience the American lifestyle she's only heard about, a lifestyle drastically different than the one in Belgrade, where economic conditions are deteriorating to the point of near collapse.
It was only my dream that I will come here and meet all my relatives and my grandpa, and I'm so happy. It's the most wonderful experience in my life.
Jelena's visa allows her to stay in America until October 1st. Between now and then, a chance to get further acquainted with her American family that began almost 90 years ago.
It's not a semi. Yeah, you're not kidding.
That's right. You'll be welcome with open arms.
Now here's something people...
We had hoped to get some more items, but we have been getting gradually small numbers of things in, and we sure could use another truckload of water and some of the other basic necessities. But the people generally come through. We're hopeful.
He stops, but say nothing. Okay.
It serves as an opportunity for our graduate students to work with small groups of children to develop their abilities to work with children who have reading needs or want to improve their needs. And second of all, it serves as a way for children in this area to get special help during the summer.
Before we teach them.
Oh, she's not a chief's daughter either.
And Lieutenant Nolan taking
editorial
away
comment
from
in the News Tribune.
I heard this woman in saying, "I'm really sorry that I heard."
Yesterday's joke was a disgusting display of humor aimed at Indian women and at people in general, and we will not stand for it within the Indian community. We would like to see a protest done. We feel that the apology is not enough, that nothing short of Stu Brown's firing by KQDS would satisfy the Indian community.
By the rights of PIA, you don't even qualify for it.
The non-smokers really appreciated it. We haven't lost any customers because of going non-smoking. People that do smoke still stay and eat.
I think that we might lose some business, but I think we'd also get a lot of people who do want to go out and have a non-smoking environment, so there might be a pretty good trade-off.
we're about 100 competitors short. And a lot of that is due to the flooding situations down in the Twin Cities. Their boathouses have been flooded out, and so their memberships are way down.
Steelworkers set up camp outside the National Steel Pellet Company in Keewatin today, complete with picket signs, tents, and a barbecue grill. Workers say they're prepared to wait it out indefinitely.
As long as it takes, we're here until we get a proposal we can get the membership that'll treat the membership fairly.
Well, they just got that proposal, like $40 on a multiplier.
At union headquarters, officials said the ball's in National Steel's court. The company called off contract talks early Sunday morning after a marathon 26-hour negotiating session. No new talks have been scheduled. The two are at odds over pensions, benefits, and working conditions. There's been talk of job consolidation, something union members say will leave many young workers out of a job.
I think if the company calls the union back to the table and sits down and talks seriously, it won't take long to wrap this up.
Like many union members, Damjanovich wants to see it wrapped up quickly. With 400 workers off the job, he says a strike benefits no one but hurts everyone, including the town of Keewatin and steelworkers' families. This is the first strike at National Steel in 17 years. It's a far cry from the cooperative effort we've seen at the plant recently, with union leaders and management working side by side to cut costs. Both sides have been lobbying in St. Paul to ease taconite taxes.
Always. When you do somebody a favor and it ends up like this, yeah, you feel a little cheated.
The cooperation on that part of the cooperative membership or partnership, as far as I'm concerned, I hope what is happening right now doesn't jeopardize that program, because the union is willing to work with the company for the benefit of both them and ourselves.
In the meantime, union members say they're willing to wait it out until they get what they consider an acceptable contract offer. In Keewatin, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
The pilot was flying up in Beaver Airspace, which is north of the base here. They were flying they had 4 aircraft up there, and he was the bad guy. They were doing some air combat maneuvering. He experienced engine problems, felt the engine bang, was losing altitude and airspeed, and the procedures at that point in time were to jettison the centerline tank to lessen the weight on the aircraft.
The school year is only 4 weeks away. Construction of the new vocational center and an addition to Woodland Middle School are yet to be completed. Vocational center students will be spending the first month of school in central administration building classrooms, waiting for lab facilities to be constructed.
We've met with Lisa Mitchell, who's the director of the program, and indicated that the first 3 weeks of school, it's primarily classroom activity, textbook, lecture. They don't get into the lab function part of that program until later in the school year.
Most vocational center programs will be housed in the Central Administration Building. Construction workers have just begun gutting rooms which will be made into the lab facilities. Much of the equipment that will fill the rooms is packed in these semi-truck trailers. Other pieces sit in storage scattered around the district.
Some of it's housed up at Central and some of it's already in this building, you know, being stored. Some of it's on trucks. So in essence, it's complete. All the equipment has been taken out of Marshall at this time, and it's either on at the three sites I had indicated.
Construction is causing an even longer delay for new Woodland Middle School students. Students coming into Woodland due to this past year's school closings will have to spend the first half of the year at Cobb, waiting for the Woodland addition to be finished.
Originally, we had Woodland is the school that will not be ready, and we're going to use Cobb as a backup to that particular school, so that that will be ready by December. So we'll make a move during the Christmas holidays.
Construction hasn't even begun at Woodland Middle School. Bids aren't due until August 17th, but officials still have confidence that it will be ready for new students come January. In Duluth, Derek Hines, News 6.
We often speak of children as holding the key to the future, and it's that future the staff at Northwood Children's Home works to protect. For 110 years, the group has been in the business of helping those in need. Today, the home's West Branch held an open house not only to celebrate, but also to educate.
Part of it is just a celebration for the children and staff and their families here, kind of like a birthday party. And another part is to really invite the community to come and celebrate with us, with the hopes also of giving them a chance to get a little bit, to know us a little better.
I'd like to see you do it again, just for fun. See if you can hit it again. Ow!
And while counselors organize lots of fun activities for the kids, the goal of the home is clear.
Our goal is to help them so they can go back in their community and back in their home. And they're just having trouble right now adjusting to their family or their community.
Burgum says the home provides an opportunity for the children to learn necessary life skills.
So we have more respect and we can get along with people better, and it helps us to work towards our goal for home and stuff.
Tough lessons that depend upon the strong bonds between counselors and children for their success.
More people care about you. They treat you like brothers and stuff like that.
But overall, when you stop and realize the total damage is going to exceed $10 billion, $5.5 billion is not going to go nearly far enough to compensate those individuals who have lost so much, especially the farmers and small business.
Okay. Thank heavens for a good sunny day, huh? Can we just have one more? Thank you very much, Tom.
Examination for subsidy, a printer from practicing pollution. Project will suggest regulatory.
And we get all of the governors to work together and to petition Congress and to petition the President that we would do well. And it worked out very, very well, and it was a great bipartisan effort.
In parts and supplies to the flood. Without the Duluth.
I think that's the spirit we have in the Midwest. You know, when people get hurt, other people come to their rescue and try and help out, and that's really come true in the flooding situation. And we feel very fortunate.
There's a lot of cars around there. You might not find the big engine cars around, but it's surprising how many people are driving a 6-cylinder 4-door now, because it's a collector piece, and that's what's left, you know, as far as the cheaper, more reasonable cars.
Well, you see, that's the problem. One person gets involved in it. But that's okay, as long as you like.
There are currently 8 patients in the Eveleth Fitzgerald Hospital. When the last of them leaves, the hospital will close. For several years, the facility has been losing money hand over fist. Its debt today stands at over $300,000, and losses continue to mount.
If you take the total tax load of the city of Eveleth, that's almost our 1-year collection of revenues that we collect in actual taxes. We don't have the money to bail them out. And even if we did, they're still operating at a $14,000 per month loss.
Closing the hospital will mean 32 people will lose their jobs almost immediately.
This has got to be a painful situation. Anytime you cut out jobs like this, the community's affected.
It's not a good feeling. It is painful.
Last month, the hospital couldn't make payroll and had to ask the city for an emergency loan of $37,000. The hospital building also houses a 24-bed nursing home and a dialysis unit operated by Duluth's Miller-Dwan Hospital. Both of those are profitable and will remain open. City leaders will begin looking for alternative tenants for the building as soon as the hospital officially closes. Workers have been given a tentative 2-week notice, but the exact closing date will depend on when the last patient leaves.
Mayor Coombs says in over 8 years in city government, this is the toughest decision he's ever had to make. But he says this hospital has become critically ill, and closing its doors is the only way to stop the hemorrhaging. At Eveleth Hospital, Barbara Rielts, News 6.